Hey there, good afternoon, my friends. Welcome to Prog Monster. My name is Murph. I am the host of this show, a show dedicated to progressive rock and other forms of rock music. So we're here with the Sunday night Ben's album challenge video that I do every week. Basically, I have a subscriber, Ben. He picks an album that he finds and he sets it up for me to listen to, and then I give a kind of semi-review of it, if you might, just my general feelings about the album, and I pick a favorite on the album as well, normally. So today we have a German symphonic kind of neo-prog band, if you prefer. I've listened to the entire album. It's quite good. The band's called Zebulon. Sorry, for a minute there I thought I was going to say something else, but it's Zebulon, and the album it's self-titled. Zebulon is the same title for the album, and it was released in 1980. There are no vocals on this album at all. It's strictly an instrumental. It is very kind of symphonic sounding, but has a lot of that neo-prog sound that you get in the 80s. But I also hear a bit of a kind of a jazz fusiony sound in here as well. Mostly from the rhythm section, which I think is very strong. Most bands have a great keyboardist or a great guitarist. Maybe they have both. But usually the bass and the drums are a little bit more background. You might get one of them's a little more dominant than the other, or in the case of like Journey's debut album, you have a drummer that's extraordinary, or you might get a fantastic bass player. But that's why I think this has a little bit of a jazz fusiony sound to it, because both the bass and the drums are very dominant on this album. They may be the best instruments on the album. But overall, they're a pretty talented instrumental band, and the music is very good. I believe this would be somewhat hard to find, an album that I would be hard to find. So in all likelihood, if you want to listen to it, I will put the connection for it in my notes at the bottom for you to look it up. Ben gave it to me. I'm starting to learn to do that stuff now. But excellent sounding album. A little dated sounded, but not too bad. It's just unfortunate that I think they only did the one album, and they're kind of hard to find notes about because he just kind of disappeared into the woodwork, which is just very unfortunate. They're quite talented. I would like to own this album, but chances are good that it will never be found. I don't know how many were printed, but they were almost all probably printed in Germany, not likely going to be found here in North America. So, and if you could find it online, it's probably going to cost you an arm and a leg. I don't know that it's worth that, but if you just want to listen to the album, you can listen to it on the internet, I guess, if that's the thing you like to do. Okay, so there are basically 7 tracks on the album. Like I said, the bass and the guitar, the bass and the drums are pretty frontal here. They have a very strong rhythm section. Keyboards are very atmospheric, very kind of neo-prog sounding, and the guitar player, he has a kind of guitar style that lends itself more to that slow kind of picking sound, something akin to Santana. He has that almost Santana sound to his music. That's who comes to mind. I don't think he sounds like Santana, but he has that kind of style, that similar style. Okay, so the first track is called Opium Haunt Opium. It's very symphonic, and an interesting guitar part in this song. I think it's pretty cool. Some very strong bass and got that neo-prog sound, like I said, to it. Not one of my favorite tracks on the album, but a good track. Crazy Mark, spelled M-A-R-C-K, like the German mark. I don't think there's a C in the German mark, but I think it's just a M-A-R-K. It could be wrong. Some interesting keyboards on this, very pastoral. not pastoral, sorry, very prominent. That's what I was trying to think of to say. The drums and bass are both very strong here, very frontal. Rhythm section is very strong on this particular track. Bass is just totally awesome towards the end where the guitar solo part comes in. So you have this guitar solo with this bass background, really neat sounding. The next song is Pudding Explosion. I think this is probably my favorite track. It's got this kind of symphonic part to open. There's a little almost pastoral sound to the album, to the track. And then you have this kind of acoustic guitar bit that's very kind of soothing, relaxing, and adding to that pastoral sound. The keys add this kind of forlorn, kind of sad part to it. Not too much of it, but a little bit. And then, of course, the bass and the guitar become like prominent towards the end of the song as they go into their solo parts. The next track up is Word Puginat, not spelled like not worst, like Nacht, Puginast. I'm not sure. You guys will have to look it up and decide yourself how that's pronounced. Guitar opening with some very, very interesting sounds, and then your bass and drum fills throughout that guitar part. And then you have your very atmospheric keyboard sound that permeate the whole thing. It speeds up, the whole song kind of speeds up towards the end and becomes almost neo-prog or new prog or progressive in its sound. And the drums are really good here, maybe the best part on the album, maybe the best drums on this particular album. Number 5, the Galapagos. It's kind of an eerie synthesizer, kind of a keyboard part towards the beginning of the song with some strange electronic effects. I believe it's probably synthesizer effects, but I'm not 100% sure, but it's some weird sounds to it. Kind of reminiscent of what you might grab from Pink Floyd, although this doesn't really sound like Floyd at all. It just has those parts. Some catchy, heavy instrumental build up here on this track towards the end. All of the instruments going very strongly here. This is one of the better tracks on the album, definitely in my top 2 or 3 tracks. The next song is called Schwanenflung. I think that's how you pronounce it. Schwanenflung, yeah. Acoustic guitar opening with some nice keyboard parts to support it, kind of backgroundish a little bit, and then it's kind of a pastoral song too. I like their pastoral stuff. Now it doesn't mean I like pastoral stuff, but the way in which they put their pastoral music together, like their more quieter tunes, really really tastefully done and quite enjoyable. And then the last track is called Zombie d'Amour. This is probably the heaviest track on the album. Very, very good instrumentation on this particular track. It's got a kind of a weird guitar sound to it, though. I'm not really sure how to describe it. It's different. It's offbeat only. I would say it's offbeat. Like it's not within the same range as the rest of the song. The guitar is catchy with some strong instrumentation, catchy riff, really good solo. The drums again very frontal here. He's a kind of a speed drummer almost, but he has that definitely has that jazz fusiony sound to his drumming ability, and I think the bass player is just really good. I don't know that he actually sounds like he might be more jazz fusion or he might be just more prog sounding. I think he's just a really good bass player. So the 4 musicians on here are all really exceptionally well done and making such a great album here. It's just like I said, unfortunate that it looks like they only did the one-off album. And if you're looking up this band, Zebulon, Zebulon, which is Zebulon. You will get them, but you will also get a Montreal-based band called Zebulon, which very similar but much later period. This is early 80s, so just be careful of that. This band is a German symphonic band, so they're not. You won't mix them up with the Montreal-based band, but just wanted to give you the heads up on that. So overall, I think it's a good album. Certainly well worth listening to. And I will again put the connection for it in the notes. Hopefully that'll work. If it doesn't, then you can just punch this in and find the album. Punch the group name in and find the album. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. It's much appreciated. And we'll be back again next Sunday night with another Ben's Album Challenge. Take care.